Welcome, everyone. This is the program for this week for the Rotary eClub of Silicon Valley. We are always excited to bring people who are sharing innovative ideas about service and education and entrepreneurship and innovation, all kinds of cool things that we can share with other Rotarians and other interested parties around the world. And this week, we are very happy to have with us Eve Dolkart. Eve is with the Adelante Foundation. She is a person dedicated to making great things happen for women in areas of Honduras, and she will tell you about her role as the International Development Coordinator for Adelante, and I am excited to hand it over to you. So Eve, the podium is yours. Go.
All right, excellent. Thank you so much, Rushton. It's such an honor to be able to tune in with you all at eRotary. So thank you so much for this opportunity. As Rushton mentioned, I am the International Development Coordinator at Adelante Foundation. We do work throughout Honduras, which is the second poorest nation in the Western Hemisphere after Haiti. So I have been so fortunate to be able to work in this nation with some incredible women, our amazing staff, and really be able to see changes through microfinance and education. So here we go. I'm just going to start this presentation. All right. Okay, so I want to tell you a little bit about who we are as an organization.
Before you get too far into it, Eve, let's take a quick look at the screen share there and screen share entire screen.
Oh, sorry, I thought I was already screen sharing. My bad.
Not a worry. You were smiling to the group, and I'm sure that's a positive thing.
Okay. All right. Entire screen. Share. Okay.
Perfect.
Here we go. All right. So we at Adelante are working to empower women to empower their own communities through small businesses to move Honduras forward. So this year we're actually celebrating our 15th anniversary. We dispersed our very first loans in the year 2000. And we believe that positive change for Honduran communities starts with providing opportunities to women. And then they can ensure better standards of living for the next generation. With that, our mission is to empower enterprising women with the least opportunities to achieve economic self-sufficiency. And we do this through microfinance and educational supports. I want to tell you a little bit about how we were founded, how we became to be Adelante. So after Hurricane Mitch of 1998, this was a horrible natural disaster that destroyed over 70% of crops. It crumbled bridges, roads, and other infrastructure, and it also obliterated over 300,000 homes and displaced over 3 million people throughout Honduras. Tony Stone, who graduated from Stanford University, he was moved by the news that he saw back in California. So he went home to Honduras, where he spent most of his childhood growing up on the North Coast, and looked for a sustainable solution. Now, he discovered microfinance, so he started speaking with other microfinance institutions around Honduras, and he was advised that he should not be serving women or rural areas. And so, with that information in mind, he found the most underserved population, and Adelante was born. Now, a bit about our team and our reach throughout Honduras. So now, during our 15 years, we've served over 60,000 women with microfinance and education services. We started here in Atlantida, and we've now expanded to 9 departments in total across Honduras. We now have 5 branch offices, so one in Choluteca, one in Toccoa, El Progreso, and we now have our Siguatepeque office, which is our regional office, where we can better reach our departments of Intibucá and Choluteca and all these regions through here. We hope to use this to expand to reach even more communities. And our national office, or our headquarters, is based in La Ceiba. We currently have over 7,300 clients, and our average loan is around $179. Our loans start as low as $23 and can reach close to $5,000 once a woman has been with us for enough time. And we currently have 43 staff members. I am the only staff member who is not Honduran. Many of our staff actually come from the same poor communities that we serve. And we really believe that it's critical for Hondurans to be the leaders in creating positive change in their own nation. So we really work hard to provide upper mobility and chances for our staff to get ahead. For example, our general manager, Oscar Mejia, who is basically the head of Adelante, came from one of these impoverished communities in the northern coast. And he started off as a credit officer 10 years ago. And now, through his connection and really deep understanding of the barriers faced by the poor in Honduras, this has really allowed him to work his way up through the organization. All right, and now for a little bit of background on microfinance, not a handout, but a hand up. I'm sure many of you are familiar with microfinance, the core idea behind which is promoting economic development and financial inclusion by lending to the poor. As many traditional banks and other financial institutes consider the poor to be too high risk. They lack collateral, which traditional banking relies on to guarantee a loan. But we use credit counseling and educational support, and also a solidarity loan. So we're based off of, our model is based off of Grameen Bank's grassroots character-based lending. And basically through this, we use collective responsibility and trust between women in place of collateral, making that accessible to the poor. So they don't have any risk in losing their assets. You know, if something happens, they have their group to back them up. And this has been proven to really work because due to the social pressure that's involved with these loans, with these solidarity loans, we have seen a 97% repayment rate from our clients. So as you can see, microfinance is not a charity, but a sustainable way to help the poor help themselves with funds to invest in their own business. And our repayments go back into our Adelante loan pool to, in turn, help more women in need. So our focus is not only on reaching the poor, but empowering women and serving rural areas. So we focus on women, and studies show that, you know, they really suffer more from poverty, and they give up their food and other scarce resources in difficult times to their family members. So women are proven to spend about 90% of their earnings on their families, which means that their children can receive better nutrition, more doctor's visits, so better medical care, more years of education, and safer living conditions. We also don't discriminate by age. Many financial institutions consider clients older than 65 too high risk, but we really understand the importance of allowing women of all ages the chance to support themselves and live out their lives in dignity. In addition, many other institutions are unwilling to travel to remote areas, so these rural areas, because they have small populations, poor roads, lack of infrastructure, and it can be really time-consuming since our clients live far apart. But rural areas account for close to half of the population, and over 70% of rural-dwelling Hondurans are living in poverty. And of the extreme poor in Honduras, 86% live in these rural areas. So it's crucial for us to be serving these areas where other organizations aren't serving, as they have the least access to and greatest need for financial inclusion. Now, we've mentioned a bit about group lending. So all of our clients start off with our group solidarity loan, which they can use to expand or start a small business. The most common businesses our clients have are either food resale of things like fruits and vegetables, food production, so whether they're making tortillas or tamales, merchandise resale if they're selling used clothing or kitchenware, and services. So maybe they have a salon or do some kind of bicycle repair. So these solidarity groups, these are groups of 3 to 8 women from a community, and these women really trust in each other's character to make their each woman gets their own specific loan amount depending on her individual payment capacity, but the women are responsible to repay the loan altogether. And these groups meet on a biweekly basis to form an assembly where they make their repayments and they participate in our educational program. And it's also a great space for them to share their experiences and get some good advice from each other. Now, so our education program is there so that we can support these women to develop their businesses and thrive as entrepreneurs. So these women meet with other groups in their village to form an assembly. Each assembly has an Adelante credit officer to provide financial guidance, collect payments, evaluate client businesses, assess loans, and then they provide our educational lessons. So we offer business administration and health awareness lessons. Some of the business administration lessons have included how to calculate your profit, separating out personal and business expenses, how to use a calculator, and how to accrue savings. And we also offer health education lessons, which really pertain to the needs of their community. So some have included personal hygiene, dengue fever, breast cancer prevention, and menopause. Only 16% of our clients have actually been able to continue their education past primary school, and the majority have been unable to make it past the 6th grade. In addition, 11% of our clients are illiterate. So we use not only dialogue and charlas, or talks, as we call them, but we also use flip charts with illustration, and any pamphlets and handouts that we give to our clients always include drawings along with text so that everyone can fully grasp the information. And it's important to note that these are spaces at these assemblies and within the groups where credit officers offer emotional support, and the women amongst these groups also offer emotional and social support to other women. So if a woman has been through a difficult time, if they have a sick one in the family or a loved one who's passed away, if they've had a fire, there's so many things that can come up. These women are really there to support each other through difficult times and offer their emotional support. In addition, the majority of our Adelante credit officers hail from the communities that they serve. So they really understand the needs of these populations. For example, one of our credit officers, Jose Luis, he noticed that his client Claudia was illiterate and she was really embarrassed that she wasn't able to sign her name on her credit documents. So he suggested that he ask her children to teach her how to read and write. And today, Claudia has learned from her children. She has worked with them and can now sign her own name and is learning to read basic Spanish and write in Spanish. Now, if a woman demonstrates her excellent credit record and is consistent at attending her assembly meetings, she can become eligible for an individual loan. Now, these loans are used to help expand her business and are a really great incentive for clients to maintain great credit and become even more involved in their businesses. And it's kind of a reward for clients showing their success. So a woman with an individual loan will still hold a group loan to remain involved with her group and remain involved with the solidarity, but the amount is reduced so as to never over-indebt her. And clients who have proven their credit responsibility can also become eligible for a home improvement loan. We noticed that so many of our clients were living in unsafe and unsanitary living conditions. And so we made this loan available for clients who had a visible need. Now, this is Aloyda, who took out a home improvement loan last year. You can see her home before on the left. This had a dirt floor, a leaking roof, no bathroom facilities, and was held together with plastic on one of the walls. But now, thanks to a home improvement loan, she and her family are able to enjoy a safe environment with sturdy walls, doors that lock, and healthier living conditions. Now they have concrete floors and also an outhouse facility. Another loan that we offer is our education loan. So 61% of Honduran youth are unable to attend school past the 6th grade, and this is often due to the expense of uniforms, books, and the opportunity cost of working. So now with Adelante children can take out, now the women of Adelante with children are able to take out education loans to cover these needs. So far, we have sent close to 500 students to school with these loans, mostly in middle and high school, but we also sent 17 students to attend university, which was a huge accomplishment for those mothers and for us. Our loans range from around $50 to $150, depending on family needs. This is Maria de Jesus. She started off with a business selling secondhand clothing, and she's now been able to expand to plastics and steel. Not only was she also able to take out a home improvement loan, but she's taken out an education loan for her daughter Delia to complete her high school education. Now she took out this loan for a little bit less than $100, and Delia is planning to attend medical school after she completes high school, and is hoping to open a clinic in her community one day. And she also, this is Maria de Jesus with two of her other children. She has 5 children total. This is Stephanie, who's 12 years old. She hopes to take out an education loan for Stephanie next year when she enters the 7th grade. And this is her youngest son, Oscar, who's 6. So this has had a great impact on these families' lives. Now, our newest loan is our agricultural loan, which we launched in October of this past year. These loans are currently concentrated in some of the poorest rural areas of Honduras, in the western highlands of Intibucán, La Paz. And this is where agriculture is really the main means of income. So these loans are used to purchase seeds, compost, and other inputs needed for growing. The loan has really had the same methodology as the Solidarity Group loan, so it has the same social pressure, but payments are made 90 days after the harvest so that women have enough time to sell their crops and to make their incomes. Now, women not only use this loan to sell their fruits and vegetables in the market, but they also create local food markets themselves in their communities and provide better nutrition for their families. And this is Juana from Intibucá. She's here with her 4 children. She took out her first agricultural loan this past December for about $273, and she used this to purchase seeds and compost, planting potatoes, carrots, beans, beets, and squash. And a quote from her, she said, "The food we grow not only provides income, but it keeps us strong. Medicine is very hard to find here. If we go to the clinic and get a prescription, we may have to go hours to get to a pharmacy that will have what we need. So we keep our family healthy with special drinks made of ground carrots for our eyes and beets to keep our blood healthy." She now has taken out her second agricultural loan for $318 this May and has used it to further invest in her farm work and her family. One of the most valuable outcomes that we have seen from our clients is not only to better their standard of living and economic stability, but to improve self-confidence. Because it can be so intimidating at first for a woman to take out this loan when she's never had access to finances such as these before. But once she can see her business grow, she can see the changes she's made to her household, for her family, and for her community, she gains a real heightened sense of self-worth, and she can pass this on to future generations and break the intergenerational cycle of poverty. And so we are so grateful to all of you and all of our supporters for empowering these women and empowering these communities of Honduras to help them help themselves. All right, now I went a little quick, but if anybody has any questions, feel free to ask.
Cool, absolutely, absolutely, and wonderful presentation. Thank you very much, Eve.
Thank you.
I actually made a whole list of questions up here that kind of came up for it. So many cool things we got going. First, I want to start with just kind of the idea of microfinance in general. You talked about how the recipients of the loans are commonly involved in food resale and production and merchandise resale. When thinking about creating a market for what they're producing, obviously, if everybody is rising out of poverty together, then then that market is expanding. Is there also a program that is a part of what you do to try to expand the market for the things that they produce in other areas?
Sure, that's a really interesting question. I think that one of the great things about our program is that the businesses that these women create, they're always coming from their own interests, their own experiences. But we also have provided in the past workshops on different craft making. We've provided workshops on encurtidos, which are pickled vegetables, so preserving vegetables, different things like that to give women ideas for other ways that they can expand their business. So many women will start off with something very simple, selling tortillas, something, a very small business that requires little capital, and then work their way up. And as they continue with our education program, continue with learning more about business administration, learning how to satisfy client demand, they can really expand those businesses. So it's a very homegrown, very grassroots way of finding new ways to reach more clients and expand and grow.
Very cool. And when we talk about the kinds of businesses that they do, you gave those examples. One of the things that we talked about in a recent meeting with John Kaufman of H2 Open Doors is the possibility of water. So, for example, if you have a water filter that can produce enough water for up to 5,000 people a day, and it's going to handle the community's needs just fine, then the extra water that's available can be sold as a way of creating new revenue for the village. Is that the kind of thing you do as well?
So it's something that we're really interested in, and we're starting to do. We have a partnership with Red Micro, which is a network of different microfinance and support institutions throughout Honduras, and they're helping us to create some different projects dealing with those kind of things when it comes to, really social good businesses that can create social good. So doing trainings and things like that. With our agricultural loan, that's been something that, that was kind of in mind, trying to have that kind of social good come out of businesses. So not only is it, providing access to nutrition, we're trying to promote sustainable growing practices that don't harm the earth. And, water would be something that's great to get into. So that's a really, I'm really glad to hear that those kind of projects are happening all over.
Good deal. All right. Well, and by the way, if you want to stop sharing the slides, that's okay too. When I think about a poverty-stricken community, one of the things that it occurs to me, is that people are used to the connections they have with each other at a poverty level. I would assume there's actually some complex dynamics that come from people starting to be successful. And so if in a village a portion of people are starting to do quite well, I can imagine that the program that you guys add, the solidarity, kind of components to it, address it in some fashion. But is that something that you encounter where there's a certain kind of social pressure not to be wildly successful, with a new business or anything like that?
That is a really interesting question. The thing with is that few social supports in this nation. Social nonprofits, NGOs are really the individuals who are providing these kind of opportunities. So we found that, when women have the opportunity to improve their situation, to get past the barriers and the difficulties caused by living in poverty, they will grab at it and they will do whatever they can to really work hard and overcome. Now, I didn't mention our values. I meant to mention our values, but these are unidad, disciplina, trabajo, y valor, which means unity, discipline, hard work, and courage. And we work really hard to instill these values both in our staff and in our clients. And this really helps people to, overcome their situations of poverty and also develop their character and be able to pass this on to their communities. So yeah, this is something that we've seen has been really, really helpful for these women.
Good stuff. When I think about the work that happens in a town like this, let's say you've got a little village and people are starting to be successful and they're they're kind of taking on the thing. I mean, I love that you guys go to the trouble of having these educational programs as well. These other support systems in place. It strikes me that a lot of what I hear about microfinance, kind of comes down to just the specific pieces of very small loans, people with limited collateral, and if we can show success in that regard. On just a second, I'm getting a whole lot of feedback there. Let's see. There we go. When that kind of thing happens, that it's harder for people to begin to kind of get going with their microfinance, right? So when we talk about Adelante and how it's doing its programs, would you say that something like this credit counseling and solidarity support, is that what makes Adelante different from other microfinance organizations, or is it something else?
I think that's a huge part of it. It really is such an integral part of our program. The microfinance and education go hand in hand. And the fact that our credit officers deeply understand the communities that they serve, deeply faced, deeply understand, these issues of insecurity. They understand the issues of what it's like to live in abject poverty, what it's like to have, family members move to the cities or migrate to the U.S. or, they just have so many issues that they've overcome. So it's the educational piece. In that, this really gives them the tools that they need to make their businesses succeed, but it's also the social and emotional supports that come along with it. Many of these credit officers, these are their aunts and their cousins, and at some points their mothers and sisters. They really care deeply about what happens to their clients. They're not just, throwing out loans and saying, okay, well, we'll see what happens. It's really, they want to see these women succeed. They want to give them feedback on their businesses. They want to see their children succeed and get the proper schooling and nutrition and, better lives that they need.
Good. So I've been kind of leaping in with all of my questions, and I want to introduce our membership chair for the Rotary eClub of Silicon Valley. That's Shags Chagrin. Shags.
I don't know how the image is going to be. I'm sitting in the car during lunch. That was a great presentation. I've heard several on microfinance in the past, and it's really a great program that you put together that encompasses all facets of just getting through life and being human.
Yeah. Yeah.
So kudos. The questions I had, Rushton already raised, so, or you answered.
Okay. Yeah. Well, if you ever have any questions in the future, I can pull up this. If you want me to screen share, I can pull up our kind of contact information slide.
Yeah. Let's get that up. And as we're getting that up, another question for you is from your bio. You went to college in Massachusetts. Perhaps you are from that area. And what got somebody from Massachusetts interested in Honduras?
That is a great question. Sorry, I am just gonna. This is taking longer than I thought to get through this program.
It's a good review of the main concepts, actually. All good.
Yeah. See, kind of what we're up to. All right, here we go. This is kind of, this is our, thank you so much for your time and our contact information and our Facebook and phone. You were asking about kind of how I got involved with Adelante coming from the Northeast. And really, I've always had a passion for poverty alleviation and for Spanish cultures. Latin America has always fascinated me, and And I started off working with SNAP, the food stamp program in the U.S., and we had a lot of Spanish-speaking clients. Many of them are from Honduras, Guatemala, and El Salvador. And, we're talking about, there's so little support from the government in these nations, and there's so much need. And, how can we overcome poverty in these areas? What is, how can we really create a better future for these children who are living there? So I started researching just some areas that I can get to. It was also a really rough winter, and I was excited to get somewhere warm and live, in a warmer area. So I started looking into jobs throughout Central America, and I stumbled across Adelante on idealist.org, read about their cause and what they do, and I just completely clicked. I think that this is really one of the best ways to help communities help themselves, because they can see the transformation that they have made, and that is just so important for me, and it's been such an amazing opportunity and just such a pleasure working with our team, and especially with these women who are just some of the strongest, most humble, and just bright women you'll ever encounter. Even though so many of them haven't had educational opportunities, they've been through so much, and they have so much to share and so much to offer. So it's really been just such an amazing opportunity.
Sounds like it's inspiring work that you get the chance to do there.
Absolutely.
Thinking about the further development, and it's kind of the last question for this.
Okay.
The further development, I would assume that in most of these places there's limited access to the internet, but is that part of is that true? And if so, is there kind of an effort to get more connections possible so that people can kind of get in that space where they can learn to access videos where people are explaining different things? I would assume that there's enough in Spanish to make that a viable interest.
Right. Oh, what a great question. We do have our clients have very limited access to internet, although some of their children have been able to, especially those who, have been able to see their businesses succeed and get a little more income, have been able to get, very simple smartphones. So they're able to access Facebook, a few of them. So we do have some clients who have contacted me through our Facebook page, which is really neat to see. We had a Mother's Day celebration in May, and we put up a photo, and one of our clients commented and sent me all these messages saying, "Oh, that was so wonderful. We're so excited to see, all these women who are just like us, who can share their stories here." And all of our credit officers have some kind of smartphone. The vast majority have a smartphone, and they've been able to show a few videos through those. Although it's there's limited access to internet in the communities, but for those who have data, sometimes they can use their data. And we are slowly starting to use an incentive for our credit officers who go above and beyond to reward tablets so that they can share inspirational videos, they can share educational videos, and really further provide this kind of education and access to their clients. But it's something that poco a poco, little by little, we will start to see more and more access to internet, hopefully, in these communities.
Well, very, very cool. All right, so I want to wind down. I think we've kind of run through our time on that. But first of all, thanks to Shags for taking part, and then also to Eve and the team at Adelante Foundation for taking the time to tell us about the work that you're doing. There are clearly a lot of needs out there, and there's a lot of, I think, joy and meaning that come from learning that we have something to give to alleviate the kind of concerns and challenges that people face in so many places. I also believe that we learn from these people as well, so that the opportunity to share and to teach is not a one-way street by any measure. And I think that's part of what we get excited about in our Rotary Club, in terms of being able to find the stories and share them with others via our online and highly convenient system. So with that, I'd like to let all of our guests know, all of those members and guests who are watching this program as a part of our meeting this week, that we need you to do two things. One is we need you to go down to the I attended survey a little farther down, and to let us know you were here. That doesn't cost you any money or anything else. You just put in a little information, your email address, and that'll generate an email that you can share with your club secretary if you are a Rotarian trying to make up a missed meeting. Additionally, there is an area in the Discuss section at the bottom, DISQUS, where we ask that you leave a comment. The comments that we share with each other are things that inspire us, kind of get us excited about new possibilities, and takes the possibilities of these kinds of conversations well beyond what may happen just among the people who are talking at the time of the recording. So thank you, Shags. Thank you, Eve. And with that, we hope everybody will have a wonderful week.
Thanks,
Thank
Eve.
you.
Thanks, Rushton.